The Airbus CEO Guillaume Faury has told CNBC that space is an important frontier for the company, adding that his goal is to create a key European player in the sector. Faury also touched on the company's plans to support joint European defense efforts. And Charlotte is joining us in the studio with more. She's the one that had those conversations in Paris. Walk us through what else he told you.
Yeah, that conference again was interesting, but it was about hearing the different industries and how they are adopting AI to make their business more efficient. And, you know, for Airbus, it's always about parts of it is making the planes safer and faster, because we know the supply chain, etc., is a headache for them. They have a lot of planes in the backlog. They have about 10 years of production ahead of them in their order book, so they have to get those planes out. So they are using AI to help this on that front, you know, try to get them as fast as possible. They're training. They said they have about 70 and 80,000 people trained on AI, their engineers, etc., to try to optimize things with AI. Now, the other part of their business where they are using AI, of course, is defense. And we know for drones, etc., this has been very instrumental in completely changing the industry at the moment. So they're working on this aspect. Of course, they say, you know, it's very different how they use AI on board on commercial planes or on defense. You know, they say where they're carrying passengers, very different. When it comes to defense, again, they can take a little bit more risk, but they say they keep the human at the center of all the decision making, because of course there are some ethical questions there. So they say, you know, just about getting a lot of data, but at the end of the day, it's always a human making the decisions when it comes to the defense side. So very interesting to hear all this color on that industry and how it's changing. We also talked about, of course, their satellite tie-up that I have announced very recently with Leonardo and Thales, because you know they say this is very instrumental for the strategic autonomy of Europe and also its data sovereignty.
Space is a sector of very fast development. It's a way to use data and to make data available everywhere. So the fast evolution of technology driven by digital as a space component. We've seen giants in the US going very fast, and we need to create players in Europe at scale. When we have European players at scale, like what we did with Airbus 30 years ago, or what we've done 20 years ago with MBDA on the missiles, when we create players at scale, we can compete with the Americans or the Chinese. And that's what we've decided to do with our friends of Thales and Leonardo, to create a satellite manufacturer and operator that will have the scale to compete with the bigger players around the world, to be able to fuel innovation, to do the right level of investments in Europe, for Europe, and also for the rest of the world. So we'll be a competitive player in space moving forward.
The ongoing talks between France and Germany around the joint defense system. I understand the talks around the fighter jets are complicated, but I want to focus on the combat cloud system that you're discussing about. Again, how important is that in terms of European sovereignty in building that cloud combat?
To protect Europe, it starts with protecting from space and from the air. You protect from the top. The future systems will be like in the consumer goods environment. It will be about connecting objects and exchanging data. So it comes with a cloud. And we have to create a European connected system, which is a European cloud. We call it the combat cloud. And the purpose of, one of the purposes of the future combat air system, that is a German, French, Spanish program, is to create that combat cloud that will be the place where data will be exchanged between satellites, tankers, fighter jets, helicopters, and also objects on the ground. That's a key enabler of the future digital battlefield that is going to take place when there is confrontation in the future.
So what's the timeline potentially for something like that to actually be rolled out in Europe?
So it's not something digital. It comes by waves. We are already today connecting objects digitally. There are protocols to exchange data between different objects, but those protocols are quite limited, and it's not like a network where everyone can connect like a cloud. So it will take a decade, maybe a decade and a half, before we are at the level we want to be. But there are incremental ways of connecting objects that are being applied already.
And that was Guillaume Faury, the CEO of Airbus, speaking to me yesterday at this Adopt AI conference. And I also had a chance to catch up with the chairman and CEO of EDF. Of course, it is now the state-owned utility company in France. And he talked about, basically, he came on stage, kind of pitched France as a place to have data centers. He said, look, first they have a big landowner and they provide a lot of turnkey sites for people to come in and set up data centers. They said, look, France has very low carbon electricity, is very reliable, and it's really cheap. So Bernard Fontana, the CEO of EDF, was making his speech on stage.
All our customers for data center and AI want reliable electricity, competitive electricity, low carbon electricity, and quickly. And France has. The electricity is reliable. It is 99.9995%, so 5 and a 5. So it's quite reliable there. And we have close to 100 terawatt-hour available for those who want to put a data center. It is competitive, it needs to be, and currently the spread with Spain, it's in favor of France by €8 per megawatt-hour, 36 euros with Germany, and 51 euros with Italy, so double the price. And it's low carbon, 22 grams per kilowatt-hour for France. For continental France, it's even 9, but the 22, it's 4 times less than Spain and 8 times less than Germany. And we can provide a long-term contract to the customer and have a special focus to be fast for the customers.
And that was Bernard Fontana, the chairman and CEO of EDF. And, it was just really interesting over the past couple of days to hear from different industries and how they are taking AI on board. Of course, yesterday we're playing some sound from Sanofi. We know the pharma industry is heavily impacted and transformed with AI and digesting all the data, and the acceleration of medicine development is really interesting. Legrand, that has been part of this AI trade. Their shares have been booming because they provide all these products to make data centers more using less energy. So, hearing from all these aspects, it was really interesting. And again, President Macron attending this conference talking about how, all these businesses, the big ones, but also the SMEs and all these businesses need to adopt AI as fast as possible, or they are going to lose a competitive edge.
And it is in every sector, indeed. So thank you so much for bringing us all of those conversations.